it's Antia Boyd.
And Boyd.
And we're the creators of the Magnetize The Man Summit. So really excited for you to jump right into the next interview because we have created this for you to stop attracting emotionally unavailable men, overcome your trust issue, and so much more. So you attract that right man for you that makes you feel seen, cherished, and supported.
Can't wait to see you inside the interview and get you on the path to magnetizing your man once and for all. See you there. Look forward to it.
Mwah! Hey, it's Antia Boyd with the Magnetize the Man Summit, where single, successful women crack the attraction code and live their happily ever after. And look, part of living the happily ever after is knowing what is your design? Where do you even start from? Because as you know, we're talking about mapping, magnifying, and manifesting in the Magnetize the Man Method. And you have to know where you are, which is why I have brought the most amazing specialist in the entire world that I can think of when it comes to that topic, which is Sabine Messner. Sabine, say hi.
Antia, my love, thank you so much for having me here on the Summit Magnetize the Man. I'm so moved and touched in so many different ways to be here on the summit, because I remember very vividly how much I suffered when I was single, because it's part of my design and sort of like a prerequisite to fulfill my purpose, to have a life partner that supports me. So I'm excited that I get to share from the human design wisdom and also from my personal experience.
Yes, because we're talking about today how to use, what is this human design? We're going to talk about it. Don't worry about it. So we'll talk about how human design can help you to attract your life partner, and why it's sometimes a little easier, sometimes a little harder, how you run your energies, all of those questions where you could just not put your fingers on it. That's what the human design, and particularly Sabine, is going to start answering for you today. And of course, there's going to be so much to go deeper with. But before we do that, let me just give you a few words of introductions here to this like magical lady. I mean, I have so much to say about her. Like when I met her, not only do we both come from Germany, but I just knew instantly there's something so magical about her. I knew instantly she's a manifesting generator. I just like know, those manifesting generators that just have this presence. You're like, let me guess, You're a manifesting generator. So Sabine Messner shows people how to not only live their soul's purpose, but be in business with it, which is the highest form of self-actualization and the most courageous art of self-liberation. That's so true. Having always been a soul seer, Sabine narrows in within seconds what can take others lifetimes to grasp. And some of that has also to do with her design too. So blending new paradigm branding approach with her cutting edge, badass spiritual guidance, her clients are thriving and igniting their own co-creator reality under her loving tutelage. I'm always learning new words.
Tutelage, my love, tutelage.
Tutelage. Okay, so, sorry, I studied French for 6 years, I should know that. The result, highest level of soul fulfillment, individual freedom, and financial rewards, and also a lot of joy. I'm just going to add that on. And Sabine holds an MA in visual communication, magna cum laude, from the Berkeley University of the Arts. I told you we both come from Germany. She is the founder and creator of Soul Purpose Branding and Soul Purpose Wealth. And she lives in Paradise Valley, Phoenix, Arizona, with, of course, her soulmate husband and her soulmate cat, her cat son. So fun.
It's a very special son.
It's so sweet. Yeah, so Sabine, this is, you've gone through so many incarnations, you have so much experience. And tell us a little bit, like, how did you land on soul purpose, soul branding, and really just, I don't even know what words to use. The work that you do, it's really indescribable.
Oh, Antia, so thank you. Like I said, I feel really in my heart so moved to be here, and really want to thank also the listeners that are tuning in and that are really dropping into this heart space. And what a great question. So yeah, I've actually I've grown up in the 60s, and when I look back, I've always had these multidimensional gifts. I've always actually been sort of like somebody that had intuitive wisdom, that has seen things that normally are not visible to other people, some beautiful, some not so, like it is, sometimes challenging, when you have the sight. And I recently just had an Akashic Records reading where the woman said like that my parents, who were incredible soulmates and lovers and beautifully mated, right? Mm-hmm. They actually had a soul contract to marry and to provide the best environment so that they could raise me. So the three of us actually had this amazing soul agreement to they were so proud to raise me. They loved and respected me so much that they set up a world that was total magic. I could run around as a little 3-year-old and 5-year-old and just sort of like with my magic wand and just sort of make it so. So I've always been really, really supported beautifully along the path of my soul purpose. There were always teachers that have recognized that when I get the right support, what a gift I am to the world. And finally, here I am in my more sort of wisdom years, where I can basically bring these many, many gifts also from the many teachers that I've had, and bring them to your community and to whoever else, is, loves to listen. And so consequently, I have a lot of people that I would consider high caliber, world-class leaders in the purpose sort of area, right? Beth Davis, Jeffrey Van Dyke. I mean, these are all, Shaitan Parker, he wrote the book on human design. I mean, he's not the guy who downloaded it, but he worked very closely with Ra for 6 or 7 years. He's a mentor of mine. He's a close friend. So I feel very, very blessed and fortunate to have been supported on this path to purpose. And that's why I can also sort of magnetize, to use that word, people's purposes, because for me, it's not like this like woo-woo, fluffy, airy stuff. It's not purpose information. It's the real deal. This is why we're here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you say that so you can really help the women that didn't have that kind of childhood, because I think that's part of your gift, Sabine, because you were able to create and nurture and really tap into all of your faculties that you have inside of yourself, the kinesthetic, the auditory, the visual, all the multidimensional faculties that the women who were growing up with narcissistic parents or alcoholic parents or things of that nature were not able to tap into. They had a different soul agreement, right? So I just really appreciate you being here today and being able to come from that perspective that really
and that heart-centeredness. And Antia, could we just take a minute and drop the listeners into that heart frequency?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's such a great idea.
Yeah, I got the guidance, in preparation for this interview, that I really wanted to sort of like, before we really reveal this really timeless and life-changing information about how you can use human design to attract the man, but also get on your purpose, right?
Yes.
Before we dive into that, I really would love to just kind of sort of hold you energetically as the listeners, a little bit in that heart space.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd like to invite you just to close your eyes right now with me, as I'm also closing my eyes. And let's just really all drop for a moment here into our hearts. And it helps if you actually place your palms on your sacred heart, which is like the heart chakra right here. And really what I want you to know from the core of my heart, and also Antia's hearts, is that we really got you. We really want you to know that we are only doing this and we're caring so deeply about people finding their loved ones because we have found ours. And we know what it's like when you are wavering. We understand how you feel when you feel lost and abandoned. We understand what it feels like when you almost feel betrayed by God because you don't have the support to carry on. We understand what it feels like when you feel, not lovable, no matter how much you exercise or emphasize how to beautify yourself, no matter how much you try to perfect yourself and still feel unlovable because you have not been able to magnetize your life partner. We also understand what it feels like to compromise, to just because you don't want to be alone anymore, to sort of do all sorts of crazy things. Sometimes compromise your integrity, compromise your body, your spiritual knowing, just to sort of have companionship for a night or a couple weeks or a couple months. We know what that feels like. We also know what it feels like to go on for months and months and years and years. In my own journey, I have had to walk, especially in my late 20s and early 30s, a good 6-year period, really kind of like through the desert, through a romantic desert. During the prime time of my life, I felt like I was drying up. So I want to just really share all these things with you because I really want to tap into your challenge with loneliness and sadness and disconnection and all of those things. And I want you to know and really feel that in your heart, that never ever give up. Most importantly, never ever give up on yourself. Your soul will never give up on you, ever. Your soul will always have your back. And if you just slow down enough and eliminate all of the distractions and all of the things that you think you have to do in order to deserve love and attract love and this, that, and the other, we want you to know that if you just align with your soul, get on the bandwagon and ride on that coattail of your soul, you'll be so taken care of. You'll be so fine. And for this interview, we just also want you to know that Antia and me have you back with a little help from a friend, and in this case with a little help from 2 German friends, who've traveled across continents, who've taken huge leaps of faith, huge leaps of faith. We want you to know you can do it too. And that's what this content is all about, and that's why this transmission is for you. So thank you.
That's so beautiful, bringing us into this present moment and letting go of everything that has become before. So thank you so much, Sabine. And it really goes to show your work that I can't put into words, so we're talking today about the human design. So some of the women, they don't even really know what that is. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
So in order to understand human design, you have to kind of understand a little bit about the new age that we're in. We've heard a lot about, the new age, the new earth, new paradigm. What does it actually mean? Well, as of last year, we are officially in a new, what's called Aquarian an astrological age, right? These astrological ages last about 2,165 something years, right? So call it 2,000 years, okay? So when you think about it, when you think of history, human history, right? It spans over the last 2,000 years, right? When you get beyond 2,000, it's like prehistoric, right? And so the last 2,000 years have defined the consciousness of the human collective spirit, if you so will. And the last 2,000 years, we were in the age of Pisces, right? It was the astrological age of Pisces, which, if you were to summarize 2,000 years, one could say was all about belief systems. The economy is a belief system, culture, how we cut up countries. It's all a belief system. Genders is belief system. Religions are belief systems. Basically everything is a belief system, and that's really been the job of this of this Piscean age, to set up these belief systems. Mm-hmm. However, as of last year, all of this will dramatically change, because for the next 2,000 years, we are going to be in the Aquarian age. And if you were to summarize the 2,000 years that we're embarking on, with the Aquarian age, one could say it's about sovereignty. But not just sovereignty, it's about spiritual sovereignty. So that means that not only you, Antia, be you as a sovereign soul being, and me, be me as a sovereign soul being. Gaia, our planet, is going to come into sovereignty. Our Milky Way, galaxy is coming into sovereignty. Our cosmos is coming into sovereignty. The age of Aquarius is a galactic one, okay? It's galactic. It's very expansive, where the Piscean age was all about like, hey, I'm talking in my box here, mm-hmm. Don't attack me because I've got my box here of belief systems, or else I will kind of shoot you. That's kind of like where we were. We were in right. boxes, right? And right now the boxes are sort of like exploding. They're falling apart. Me too. Everything is kind of shifting, right? That's the great thing. So how does this relate to human design? You have to see human design in the context of this very exciting time that we're in. We're basically in year 0 or year 1 or so, like at the very beginning, right? At the advent of this Aquarian age. And human design is the very first Aquarian system that gives us the tools, the means, the ability to actually thrive in this, right? Because we have been so limited, right? There's science, there's religion, there's money over here, there's the hot stuff over there. Like everything has been chopped up, split up, and put in nice little belief system boxes, right? Mm-hmm. And that's not useful anymore. We need some new way of how we're relating. So the human design system has been channeled and downloaded. So it comes from some higher intelligence, let's just say. It's definitely not from Earth. It's of alien, cosmic origins. Let's just say that. And it synthesizes the 4 wisdom traditions that we are already familiar with, here, on Earth, and that have already been taught over the last 2,000 plus years. So the 4 systems are, first and foremost, of course, astrology. So the energy and the influence of the planetary system is an integral part of the human design system. Mm-hmm. Without that, nothing goes, because that's kind of what holds this, universal matrix together, are the planetary constellation and how they are moving and affecting us. Yeah. The second system is the chakra system, right? So the human design system has energy centers, of which many correlate with the chakra system, but not all of them. Some energy centers in the human design are actually multidimensional. They're not in the chakra system, but most of them are. The third system that the human design incorporates is the I Ching. So there's 64 hexagram, which of course brings us into this whole sacred geometry kind of lay of the land. Mm-hmm. And then the fourth is the Kabbalah. Yes, the Kabbalah. So again, the Kabbalah has to do with the tree of life, sacred geometry, and the evolution of consciousness. So it really, the Kabbalah takes us beyond our soul body vehicle into, the cosmos. So those are the 4 wisdom traditions, of which that feed into the human design readings. Plus, there are these layers now that have to do with the human a genetic code and the neutrino physics, like literally what happens on a molecule level, and how do we change and evolve our human DNA using this knowledge that we're actualizing through human design. Now, I'm going to have to be honest, in my own studies, and I've been at it now for years, right, with this complexity. I'm not getting into the geeky stuff with DNA and neutrinos in my readings yet, because I don't want to. That is, to me, sacred engineering, and you know, if you don't know what you're doing, don't go there. But what I can do is synthesize this, you know, to the best of my ability, this complexity to something very, very basic.
Yeah.
Something that people can really say, okay, I can do something with this today, you know? So
Yes.
It's not exotic wisdom, but something that you can actually do something with right now, right here, right? That's my focus, very tangible and down to earth.
Oh, I love that so much. So yeah, so let's talk about that more, Sabine, because I know you have like a wealth of wisdom. Like, oh, it's so good, so good. Give me more, you know. But also we want to look at what are some of the tools, you know, that the busy, successful woman can just start integrating, you know, and start to understand
So basically
more about it.
The most important thing is that you really want to understand your human design, because, you know, the focus right now that most women have, or most people have, is like on the other person. Like, what do I need to do to attract this other person, right? So there's a lot of this outward focus. That in itself is problematic. So if you want to do yourself a favor, pull your attention back.
Yes.
Call back, pull your attention back, and pay attention to what turns you on.
Yes.
What turns you on, what makes you tick, and who are you really, and what are your values, right? So the more you do that, and the more you align your life, living place, career, clothing, you know, whatever you're doing, align that with your values, your authenticity, and all of that. The more natural sort of like this selection becomes. It becomes almost like sort of a cause and effect, right? But if you're trying to engineer out here and to appear as something that you're ultimately really not, then you're really setting yourself and also the other person up for disappointment, really. So that's the first advice. And then the second thing that I really want to say, that keeps it very basic and simple, from a human design perspective, we live in a generator world, meaning we have almost 70% of the human types in the generator types. You are a generator, Broderick is a generator, right? I'm a manifesting generator, so I get sort of like bundled into that 70% also, even though I'm a bit of a different type. The manifesting generators are, you know, sort of a breed on their own. But nevertheless, this is a generator world that we live in, right? So bottom line is this: generators can mate with generators because, you know, we run out of people. Generators can beautifully mate with projectors, and generators can also beautifully mate with manifestors, right? So the key is not so much like paying, and of course reflectors as well. I'll talk about reflectors in just a moment. But the key is not to focus so much on the types, right? The types in the human design, of which there are 5: generators, manifesting generators, projectors, manifestors, and reflectors. It's almost like as if you would be focusing on, oh, is this a truck versus a race car? Like, the type is not so much the issue for compatibility. What makes it really sort of work out or not has to do with the frequency. So if you get a free reading, a free report rather, on your human design, pay attention to the numbers. The numbers will tell the frequency, and the frequency combination is the key to the compatibility. How do I pronounce that? Antia, help me out.
Compatibility. Yeah, you got it.
Compatibility, exactly. So I hope that's some useful information here that you can use to get started.
Yeah, and I love that because, you know, so many single women are really other focused versus really becoming more self-focused and actually knowing what it means to become self-focused, right? Because, you know, if they're not used to it, they're like, you know, I feel the human design has really ways to actually teach them about themselves and ask questions that they've never asked themselves, or make them even think in a way they have never thought about themselves, right?
Absolutely. And we can actually use you as an example if you want to kind of make
Yeah,
that.
let's bring us and me as an example. Sure, why not?
Why not, right? So, you know, in your design, you have a design where the focus is really truly on relationships. So everything, we can see this in the human design, that you are really here to almost like take apart, like if you have sort of like a logo, you know, sort of thing, right? And you kind of like sort of like to take things apart and put them back together in a better way. And what you like to take apart and what you are investigating and what you're looking at very closely is the art and the purpose and the way of relationship building. And your soul agreement was definitely a big part of this move into the Aquarian age, because you knew as a soul that people will have unbelievable breakdowns around relationships, you know, with divorce statistics that are over 60% now. And even if you're looking at the quote unquote functional relationship, many of them are actually dysfunctional, right? They're sort of highly functional, dysfunctional relationships. You really said, when you incarnated and shows your life, you know, I really, really want to play my part here and help people to really understand this. You have one channel, and that is actually a tantric channel, that is creating connection through intimacy. And so that means even though you're a very complex, powerful generator, not that complex, but you know, you're a powerful generator, everything always comes down through that one channel processing, like how do I create intimacy with this conflict? How do I create intimacy with this, you know, assistant exchange? Like there is no superficial sort of engagement with you because you have that deep intimacy, you know, channel. So you always drop people into that deeper place of relating. That's your greatest gift to the world. And then of course, you know, if we're looking at Broderick, I mean, you guys complement each other amazingly. So we're looking at the human design and we can see there are two soulmates that are just like, they have an agreement because they fit into each other, right? They fit, it makes sense. These things sync up. But at the time when you fell in love, you did not know about the human design, right?
No, I didn't.
So that's my point. This goes back to live your purpose. Live your purpose. You can never go wrong with that. But also, you know, get your human design information and then live your purpose. That makes it even faster and easier. I hope this is making sense.
Oh, so much, because once I learned about my human design, like it's just the beginning stages. I mean, with you, it takes it to a whole new level, but just like learning about just the basics, you know, that I kind of read here and there. I'm like, oh, okay. And then now I started to set more boundaries, things like that, right? So I saw what I needed to do to stay in my own lane, right? And do what to pay attention to. So it's definitely so helpful to know your human design, because I always felt, you know, I studied the Enneagram and I studied personality psychology. And so, but there was always like pieces where I'm like, but it doesn't explain this. So it doesn't explain why this other person is manifesting more than I do, or doesn't explain why this other person can do 5 things at the same time. And they have like a much bigger capacity and I don't at times, and whatever, right? So there were so many question marks I had. And I felt when I met the human design, it started to, of course, until I started, you know, to really see your work, it takes it to a whole new level of complexity, but just like even touching on it, oh, okay, I get some more hope. You know what I mean? I might get some of my questions actually answered.
See, this is why I think human design is trending. It's exactly, you know, to your point. Numerology is a big part of the human design as well, because that the sacred geometry, numbers, all of that comes in there. But on its own, these systems that we had in the boxes on its own, like personality tests, right, and all of those things, that's again speaking to that belief system, keeping things kind of sort of like in their isolated place, right? That's speaking to that belief system that has ended. And what is so liberating about the human design is that it is multidimensional, it is evolutionary, and it gives people the sort of almost like an activation versus this definition. I think nobody wants to be, we're at the place where we don't want to be labeled anymore or pigeonholed anymore. We just want to get some basic information so we can go, right? Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what human design provides.
Awesome. It's so awesome, Sabine. And can you give us like an example of someone you worked with and who, after she learned about her human design, it just, everything came together for her, and she, you know, like,
oh yeah, I mean, there's actually there's a lot of examples that I could give, but the one that really stands out the most is a woman who married when she was 20, and she's now in her very early 40s. So 20 years later, she learned that she is a sort of a manifester, and the manifestors, they are you know, they have this issue by far and large about being controlled. So she's an extremely powerful woman. She's been a self-made millionaire many times over, and she struggles with family and control issues almost on a daily basis in her marriage and in her, you know, sort of larger family circle. And she's always sort of like gotten herself really stuck in a rut with this, like, how come I'm so powerful and smart and intelligent, and I can print my own money? You know, she's a day trader. And then, like, how come I mean, nobody listens, or, you know, I feel like totally helpless and totally controlled. It made no sense, right? There is no psychology that sort of like, you know, really can make sense of that, right? Mm-hmm. And so with the human design, we were like, oh my God, this is just so genius. It's almost like, instead of feeling like you've been a total fool because you allowed all these people to control you, in quote unquote, we were actually able to see that, oh my God, this is actually her life theme. So not only has she sort of like allowed that, she's been sort of like creating it to a degree, without realizing it. So it eliminated a lot of this sort of blaming and shaming that could have normally happened. You were always so controlling, da 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 da. None of that happened. She was like, I did not understand that, right? So now she's actually going through this amazing process where she is bringing her control back. She is giving authority back to others, which she has actually also kept. So she is in this incredible awakening process. And because one person is awakening, there are a good 30, 50 people right now that are affected in 2 businesses, in the family circle, in the circle of friends. It's like, this manifestor woman is coming online, and this whole sort of like community is becoming unglued as a consequence. She's having a ball, by the way. She's just such, she messages me all the time, and she's like, oh my God, you can't believe I've just landed another truth bomb.
Yeah, it feels so good to like know who you are and know where you should go and why things are, you know, we humans are so funny. You know, sometimes it's so helpful for us to know, like with women specifically, right? You know, but even Brody too, like why we do things. And then out of the sudden, because then now we know why we do things, like what's our design, out of the sudden, now we can utilize it, right? And like now
you can own mistakes, you can own failures. The failures were by design. So all of a sudden, knowing the why, right? You can make sense out of tragedies that normally would not be explicable. And all of a sudden, and there's this moment where it's just like, yeah, wow, I can take responsibility for that. Yeah, I'm okay with that, you know? Yeah. That abuse happened, or that tragedy happened, or whatever it may be, you know? And I'm whole. It makes us whole. It's a lot of fun.
And so for the ladies also who are like looking, because there's 2 types of single women. I always say that, right? There's like the single woman who grows by herself outside of a relationship. That was me. I was never in a long-term relationship until I met Brody, right? My longest sort of engagement with a man you could call was 2.5 months, and we only saw each other on the weekend. So, you know, what is that, like 8 dates or whatever, right? And versus like there's then also women who are really growing in relationships. So they're actually learning through relationships. And so for me, what I learned from my human design, oh, it made so much sense that because I have such a high level of integrity with relationship, that I couldn't stand it. I wouldn't be able to be in a relationship. And I'm not saying that nobody else has integrity who goes through relationships and having one channel, that it was almost like unbearable for me. It would be so intense, like being in a relationship where I already know that's not the one.
Yes.
So that was something that helped me really to like be like, okay, interesting. So I'm not necessarily playing it safe or I missed out or anything like that, but it's really designed.
Exactly. That makes total sense. You actually on a higher level have kept certain relationships at bay so that they served a certain purpose, but didn't fully absorb you because that would have been too painful.
Yeah, exactly. You know what they always say, you just get as much as you can handle, right? And I'm like, well, that's about as much as I can handle. 2.5 months, break up, you know what I mean? Like, that's all I can handle. So, yeah, awesome, Sabine. Well, I'm sure that women are just totally leaning in and what is that? And what's that 1.4? What am I? And, you know, and if they're not already went online now and looked at their own human design. So what do you have for those women who just really feel like, I'm really so curious to learn more about myself, to take this seriously, to work with my design because I'm done trying to be someone I'm not, and I'm done with dynamics that are just not working for me?
Yeah, so I come bearing gifts. So I have 3 gifts prepared for you guys. And so the first gift that I have, of course, you know, is the gift of the human design soul reading. And it's an in-depth 2-hour soul reading. And obviously I can't logistically gift the whole thing, but I am going to provide you because I love Antia and I love the work that she's doing in the world because it's so on purpose and so needed. You're going to receive a special coupon code for a really significant discount so that if you wanted to have a human design soul reading with me, then you know you can take advantage of that. That's the first gift. The second gift that I have is I really wanted you to understand if you get, you know, your free report, right? And you can't right now afford, you know, the human design reading, or you just want to sort of like ease your way into this whole world of human design, right? Your, you know, timing is a big deal. For you guys, I have a special webinar with a live Q&A prepared that I will host when all of this is live, where I will go into the #1 key in the human design system that lets you know with whom you are compatible, you know, and the definition of compatibility, which is like such a difficult word for me to pronounce, is that conflict free, like syncing up, right? That's what we want. We want what you have with Brody. It's like you guys are syncing, right?
Yeah.
It's like syncing up. We don't constantly sort of like have these like over and over same conflicts and arguments, right? We're not in this like loop thing.
Yeah.
And so that's a very powerful 90-minute training that you have complimentary access to. That's my second gift. And finally, my third gift is a interview with my beautiful assistant. She is a 4-1 projector, and perhaps you have heard of the 4-1 profiles, and those are fixed human design, fixed human designs, meaning they have faded destinies. They have preset destinies. Can you believe that? Is that not fascinating? So there is a small percentage of people that have chosen a predetermined destiny. Now, wouldn't that be important for you to know in that dating space? Because if you are a fixed design, you know, you're going to break the mold of if there is a partner that is not according to your fated destiny. I mean, you're going to break the mold. And so you really, especially as a fixed design, need to know who you are so that you can align with the right people around you, because you have really committed to a destiny and you've predetermined it already what it is. So that's going to be a bonus interview with her, because we have made this amazing discovery, Antia, when I first started working with my assistant, I didn't know about human design to that degree. I didn't know that she was a fixed fate design. She did not have any, clue. And everything that I said about who she is and what role she's playing in the Philippines has come true. She is almost like on a political level, an influencer. She has a destiny that we're both seeing now, because we now have, the map, but we've always kind of known it. And it's an interesting story of discovery, of purpose discovery. So
wow, no, I can't wait to look at my clients. Like, they always have to fill out their human design. So because I know a little tiny bit about it, so
yeah.
but now I can't wait to see, who of those has like it's like one of my intakes, who has like a fixed human design. So awesome and so helpful. I actually think it's a blessing when you have fixed human design, because then you're just like, well, you know what? All I work on is to surrender. It's the easiest thing in the world,
Yeah, well, G would have a little bit of a different opinion there.
Again, one channel versus like how many channels?
Oh, that was funny.
I'm having so much fun. Thank you so much for being here today, Sabine. Like, thank you for all your generosity and such like, galactic insights that you can't just read anywhere. And I just always really appreciate just the presence that you bring alone is just so powerful and so impactful. So thank you so much for coming on and sharing that.
As you know, I've really been looking forward to it. I've been all giggly about it. So I really hope this is all serving you ladies out there. Share the summit. This is such good stuff, and lots of self-care and kindness for yourself. Love yourself, right? That's how it all comes together. Much love to you all. Blessings.
Take care, ladies. I'll talk to you next time. Was that absolutely delicious? We just love how every single expert has those juicy pieces of wisdom for you to enjoy. Look, if you want to own the entire Magnetize the Man series, we invite you to get our Magnetize the Man VIP All Access package. Not only will you own the entire video series, but also you will get our Magnetize the Man Masterclass that teaches you the 3-step formula, step by step, on how to attract the right man for you. You also get some other juicy secret trainings and a one-on-one call with me where we personalize your individual journey to attract that right man for you as soon as possible. So look, to get that, click the link below that says get access now, and you get it all. Own the entire series, including all the juicy bonuses, well worth over $1,400 for nearly the fraction of the cost. All right, we will see you in the next interview.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Mwah.
Mwah.